Good morning everybody, Vasilis Girasis for Trader24. It was another tough trading day on the JSE yesterday. We saw our market opened up lower, dragged down predominantly by heavyweight platinum and gold counters. We also saw stocks such as Kumba iron ore, Exxaro resources. They took quite a bit of a pounding, also dragging our markets lower. Once again though, the general theme of the day, low volatility, low liquidity, and I think the low liquidity not just specific to our market but to global markets, causing a bit of frustration amongst the traders now as it's becoming more and more difficult to find intraday trades. Of course, the low volatility and the low liquidity due to a lot of cash sitting on the sidelines in anticipation of what Bernanke has to say at the Jackson Hole meeting. Unless he comes up with some kind of real stimulus, we're not going to see that money coming back into these markets anytime soon. So really all dependent on what Bernanke has to say. Is he going to announce another asset purchase program? He needs to do something, provide some kind of stimulus to really get these markets going. Unfortunately, however, the consensus is that he probably will disappoint, and as such, this should be bad for the gold price. Gold rallying quite nicely recently, but stabilizing, losing a bit of momentum, holding the 1665 level. Again, money on the sidelines, really on the back of the anticipation of what Bernanke has to say. A lot of pundits out there saying that he probably will disappoint once again. And although this should be negative for the gold price, the general consensus is that it will be short-lived. We're still seeing a lot of central banks buying up a lot of physical gold, ETNs, ETFs, volumes in golds, they're holding up quite nicely. So my thinking is that even if it does disappoint, I think it's pretty much priced in, and any dip in the gold price will be deemed as a bit of a buying opportunity, as it is expected that the gold price will rally in the short term. Just another couple of graphs I want to look at. The euro dollar, this is one that we did post on our tips of the week on our website, Trader24.co.za, and as we can see here, we've got a nice little downward trend line. If it does break and hold this trend line, 127, 128 thereabout, a break and hold above those levels could see it moving higher, and we did say that we could see it go to about 130 or so first stop. Reason being, if we just zoom out of that graph a little bit, we can see it, the euro dollar in a downward channel. It did bounce off the bottom of the range, however, was a little bit oversold. Did bounce off the bottom of the range, and this is why we say if it does break 127, 128, we could see it rallying up to about the 130 mark first stop, and thereafter to about 133, 134. Another graph that we have spoken about and tipped recently is Aveng in the construction sector. We did tip it as a strong buy at about 31 Rand 90. As it did come to retest this horizontal support. Gave us a bit of a scare as it looked to struggle, traded a bit lower than that, and for a moment that we got worried, but today we saw it reversing quite beautifully. As we can see here, closed at 32.55, so a very nice little reversal on Aveng. Our target price on this one is still around about the 34 Rand 50 to 35 Rand mark. Another graph that we are looking at, one of the favorite stocks for traders and investors alike on our market, Anglo American. If we look at the daily graph over here, again, downward trend line, struggling to break out of that downward trend. And I did mention in the previous webcast, I would be only buying this one if I saw it really break and hold above the 265 Rand mark. What's quite concerning for me, however, is if we look at the weekly graph, here we can see clearly a head and shoulders. The neckline has been broken and it's now holding to the downside, and if we measure the line between the neckline and the head, we could see a potential target here of about 150 Rand. My view on this one, unless it breaks 265 to the upside, I would stay clear. This is Vasilis Girasis for Trader24.